though we love each other, how long will it last?
So we have Possessed 1931. So this is a familiar title with Joan Crawford fans because she actually did two Possessed. 1947, which she was nominated for her performance. But this one was Casey's pick for our four memorable films. Tell us a little bit of a summary or why you chose this particular film to highlight.
Yeah, in a singular phrase, it's the chemistry between Clark Gable and Joan Crawford. This is, I believe, the third film that they had done together, Laughing Sinners. I think they were in Dance Fools Dance together earlier.
Yes.
But this was the beautiful Art Deco. It's the factory girl, Joan, who rises through society yet again, and is a kept woman by Mr. Gable. They are deeply in love. She plays, I think, Mrs. Moreland, I believe, is
yes,
the kind of interior character name that Clark came up with to kind of hide her identity. And it's just an incredibly the set design is just of the time, and it's just that beautiful, just Art Deco look and feel. And again, the chemistry between the two co-stars is obvious. The chemistry is obvious. The fire between them is obvious.
Come now. Where's the fine, brave girl who came to New York 3 years ago? Demanding everything from life and willing to pay everything for it.
Well, it actually has a special meaning for me, this movie, because it is essentially the very first movie I ever watched of Joan Crawford.
Very nice.
So
okay.
It was my first introduction to her. I had rented two films, the only two that they had in the video store at the time. Again, dating ourselves, video store.
Of course, video stores.
Where you had to physically go pick out
and pick up your video. Absolutely, of course.
Right, and return them, of course,
yes.
Rewound.
Be kind. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was that one and Mildred Pierce. And as I said, Mildred made me a fan. I think it was just the whole Joan Crawford and all her glory. But Possessed, it obviously made me want to watch more. And I didn't remember as much about it after Mildred, it was like I hit the ground running, film after film. So I recently revisited Possessed 1931. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think now that I've had a chance to see Joan through all her eras, I love her in that 1930s vibe of the film. Again, as you say, with Gable, it may have been sort of the height of their personal partnership, if you will, as well as professional. I mean, of course, I don't know that anything was ever specifically said by Joan, but the deep respect I know that she had for, always spoke with such admiration for Gable.
Even if I were married to you, I couldn't respect you more than I do.
My dear.
Is there a particular scene that you favor in that film?
The scene I love, Joan is walking back from her factory job during the day. Her semi-boyfriend had gone home, and she walks across the train tracks. And again, think about Wrong Side of the Tracks, all that imagery. And a train is slowly going by. I mean, creeping by. And it's almost like she's in a museum and she's seeing all these vignettes play out. There's no caboose of the train because that wouldn't have worked, but on the last car is Skeets Gallagher, and he's drunk 90% of the time in the film, and he's already had a few, and he's drinking champagne on the back of the train on I guess, what would you call it? The back patio, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And he offers her some champagne, and I would surmise that she hadn't taken a drink ever in her character's life, probably, and she gets a little tipsy, and he hands her his business card and said, if you ever hit the city, please find me.
The label says champagne.
But you can't break the label. Could city slicker tempt country gal with liquor?
Could try.
And it was just a throwaway gesture by Skeets, but it implanted something in her head, in the character's head, about there is much more to life than me going to the factory every day.
You know, something wrong with you.
There's everything wrong with me. My clothes, my shoes, my hands, and the way I talk. But at least I know it.
She then takes off for the big city, and within a short time, she becomes, you know, Clark Gable's character's girlfriend in the movie, and she's living in a beautiful apartment on a high floor, and it's just a fantastic opening scene of how big the world could be, and how she sees there is more to life, again, than punching a clock at a factory in a little town.
Exactly. I love that. I was going to choose that as one of my favorite scenes also, partly because, again, it mirrors her real life almost to me, you know, wanting to get out of this town, this city, because you know that there's something different waiting out there. I always think of her as Lucille in the beginning, and then Joan when she meets Clark and starts this new life. It's almost like this progression. And another, well, two more, but one scene that always stood out is her and Gable. I think they're in a mirror. And I love the camera work there, because essentially we see them. And there's this dramatic embrace, you know, her coat falls to the floor, the whole strand of pearls. It's just very intense, and I love the chemistry between them. I would also have to say, I don't know if it's so much a scene as a moment. Again, this goes back to Joan, her close-ups just steal the entire show. It's shot from over Gable's shoulder, so they're an embrace essentially, and you just see her face, closed eyes, closed mouth, and it's just so breathtakingly beautiful to see that.
I feel as if I were walking on the edge of a precipice.
I'm holding you.
You mentioned already a couple of actors that were in it.
Sure.
Have a specific standout co-star in Possessed 31.
Yeah, I have to give it to Clark. Just their chemistry is just unfathomable. I mean, it jumps off the screen every time.
Here she is.
Splendid.
Still the chemistry there. And you see it in Dancing Lady as well. There's a scene in Dancing Lady, and I've screened Dancing Lady a few times on the big screen in the last couple of years. And there is a scene where they're doing a rehearsal. She gets a cramp in her leg. He carries her to his office, puts her on the sofa, and starts massaging the cramp out. And she is just in complete ecstasy. And it's not, there's nothing fake about it. She obviously loved him, and just that fire between them. So I give it to Clark 100%. And, you know, he's the aspiring, I guess he's going to run for governor in the film. But he's a political guy. He's rich. He pulls that off perfectly. He is incredibly believable in his role, because he was the king of Hollywood. I mean, he was the man, but still a little vulnerable too. He wasn't, you know, one-sided, you know, macho man. He definitely had a depth to him in all of his roles. Even again, what the last film was, Strange Cargo, I think. And even in that film, I mean, they're on a tiny little boat together for days at sea, and he still has that presence, and they still have that presence together, even in those dire circumstances in the film.
Definitely, yes. And that would be my standout as well. Gable, of course, As you mentioned, their situation in the film, it's a pre-code film, I believe.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
they were able to sort of play the mistress role where she was, some people knew of their situation, I believe, but the public was under the impression that she had been divorced, or and they were friends, or whatever exactly it was. They were able to pull it off.
Right.
And as you said, the chemistry between them. One thing I noticed too, this is like Gable, like pre-mustache, you know,
Oh yes, absolutely. Clean
he
shaven,
didn't have
yeah.
as rugged of an appearance.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was interesting to see him that way. I think his speech was almost a tad different at times too. I don't know if he had really defined what we would later see as far as a more like rugged type of character.
Right.
But again, he was playing to a different role, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
The versatility, you know, he was supposed to be more of a business or political man in this. But I noticed that it's kind of like they're both becoming who they would essentially end up being in this film, and at the same time reaching the height of their on-screen chemistry and off-screen chemistry. You know, Joan always remarks Gable as one of her favorite leading men, as well as Spencer Tracy too.
Absolutely, sure.
Definitely. And I found it kind of interesting, but I believe I understand why when she's asked who are your favorite co-stars. Now she only did one film with Spencer Tracy, Mannequin, but she did 8 with Gable, and she did 7 with her real life second husband, Francho Tone.
Francho Tone,
now,
absolutely.
She never mentions Francho as being a favorite. I think it's because he's so identified with her as her husband that she separated that from the whole stardom thing, you know. It's got to be why. I mean, I know she adored him as an actor. Said that she thought his talent was greater than hers, I believe she said once. And I know that, of course, she adored him in real life. Some of you have memories and thoughts about these films, so please join us in the comments. You know, this is part of our celebration. We're talking to each other, but we're also talking to you, because, you know, what would a celebration of Joan's films be without her fans? So please join us in the comments. Tell us some of your favorite scenes, and we love to engage with you there. As closing thoughts on Possessed 31.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the screenwriter, Lenore Coffey. She was prolific, and I started to dig in a little bit. I don't know if there's ever been a biography done of her, but she is fascinating, and I would love to dig more into her history, because she wrote some incredible pieces of literature and screenplays through her career. So I just wanted to note that it was a female screenwriter who did this movie, and she just deserves credit for just it's not a long film either. It's easy to sit through. It's you know, it's and I think it's just a fantastic pre-code Art Deco combination with Joan and Clark.
Though we love each other, how long will it last?